Hello my viewers, I want us to do another very important video regarding how you fill the application form for the DV lottery. For I know this is the period that we are doing that, and most people do not know how to go about it. Maybe you are going to take the photographs and then you start filling the form without being prepared, and I told you there is no rush. It's better you take your time, learn how to do it, and then after that you can go to the site and start filling your form in your form. So I have the form here downloaded at this side. I have done it in my other phone. So I want to take you step by step on how to do the application, for I know it is very important. And no, it's not a long episode. It's a short episode of 4 parts. Not 4 parts. It's a short episode of 14 parts. If you are doing it for your own, if you know you do not have derivatives, so it will be only 14 parts with 14 parts. But if you have derivatives or dependents, it has another part. After you do your application as the principal or the primary applicant, we have the other part of the dependents, your spouse and your children. So I have the form here. I want to read it for you because I have not done it. I have not done it on my screen. If I had, next time I will do it in my screen. I will navigate through it the way you are going to feel it, showing you it in my screen. But for today, because of those who want to fill the form immediately, let me take you step by step, because I have it here very well displayed so that you can know how to go about it. And remember, it's only for 30 minutes. You're only given 30 minutes, and if you take more than that, it is normally timed out. It normally times out. So it's good to be quick but accurate, speedy but accurate. And by the way, if you have the information, it will be easier for you when you start filling. Instead of starting filling and then at the middle you discover that there's some information that you are not sure of. So I want to take you step by step, and I'll keep explaining, and listen carefully. Take your popcorns, take your juice, and take your pen and paper as you listen to what I'm going to say. It is here, the form is here downloaded. So when you see me looking on the side, it is in my other phone because I want to take you step by step. So where do we start? We start part 1. Part 1 is the entrant information. The one who is entering the information. This one is the principal applicant in this case. So maybe this is a husband or a wife entering the information. So the entrant information, you have the name. So the name, number 1 is the name. So write number 1. Number 1 is the name. Number 1 is the name, and so we have number 1A. So we have part A. After number 1, we have A. A says last stroke family name. So this one is either the family or the last name. In this case, for example, my names are Grace Wairimo Wachira. So here I'm going to fill Wachira because Wachira is my last name. That is what I'm going to fill here. If your last name is your family name, the surname, you can fill it in the last name. Mine is Wachira, that is my last name. So I fill Wachira, and then I go to B, the first name. My first name in this case is Grace, and then I go to C on at the end, my middle name. My middle name is Wairimo. So be very careful, learn, and then we go to number 2. Number 2 is the gender. The gender, we have male or female. So we have number 2. So we have male or female. That one does not have an A and B. It only have male. You can see a gentleman drawn there. And then we have female. So tick what is appropriate according to you. And then we go to that. Number 3 is the birth date. The birth date is the birth date. So A, you select the day. A day. B, month. And C, year. So if you are born in March, if you are born in 16th of March, you write 16 as the day, number A, B, March, and then year, maybe 1998. So that is the date of birth, the birth date, and then the city where you are born. Enter birth city only. Do not enter district, stroke county, stroke province, stroke state. Only the birth city where you are born. If you are born in Kisumu, write Kisumu. If you are born in Nairobi, write Nairobi. Those are cities. For example, in our case in Kenya, so in your cities, if you are in Tanzania or wherever, the city that if you are born in Dar es Salaam, you are born in Mwanza or wherever, so write the city. If you are not born in a city, write the city that is near where you are born. If you are not born in a city, maybe you are born near Kisumu, write Kisumu because Kisumu is the nearest city according to you. If you are born near Nairobi, write Nairobi, depending on the nearness to wherever you are born. Write the city that is near to where you are born. And then you can go to country where you are born. That is number 5. The city was number 4. Number 5 is the country where you are born. If you are born in Tanzania, if you are born in Burundi, select here. There's a drop-down list that you just click. You see the countries and then you click the country where you are born. That is the drop-down list. So they have Kenya, A, B, C, D. They start until Z. So tick your country. Then go to number 6. The country of eligibility for the DV program. We said DV means diversity visa. So, country of eligibility for the DV program. For example, because I'm a Kenyan in Kenya, my country of eligibility, I write Kenya. And I was born in Kenya. Because remember, there are people who are born in Kenya, but they went back to their countries. Let me give an example. For example, Nigeria is not eligible for the DV lottery. But in the event that that Nigerian was born in Kenya, the birth certificate reads Kenya. As I told you, a birth certificate is very key in this process. The US government only recognizes a birth certificate. They do not recognize an ID card. So, for example, I am a Nigerian. I was born in Kenya, but my parents went back to Nigeria. Maybe they were living in Kenya. I was born in Kenya. So, my place of birth is Kenya. But I went back to Nigeria with my parents. So my nationality in the passport that I have, I am a Nigerian. I have a Nigerian passport, but my place of birth is Kenya. In this case, even a Nigerian can apply, by the way, even if your country is not eligible. Because I told you in another video, and kindly go to all those videos and read that info. It is very vital. If you are born in a country that there is eligibility for the DV program, for the green card lottery program, but right now you are not a national of that country, you can claim eligibility from your country of birth. So you have to have a genuine birth certificate. Because I told you we cannot allow fraud. Do never try to do fraud. Do not allow vagaries or anything. If you have a birth certificate that you are born in Kenya, and Kenya is an eligible country to fill the DV lottery, you can claim eligibility from the country of birth. But for example, because I'm a Kenyan, born in Kenya, I write Kenya as my country of birth. And then country of eligibility is also going to be Kenya. It's also going to be Kenya. So in number 5, you are told to write the country where you are born. You write Kenya. The country of eligibility, you write Kenya. So even if you are Nigerian, but you are born in Kenya, you are going to select Kenya. If you are born in Kenya, genuinely, maybe you are born in Kenya, or a Chinese, because Chinese also is not eligible, or you are an Indian. Indians are not also eligible. Indians. So, and I'm not saying the Indians with a Kenyan passport. Indians, if you are born in India, you are not eligible. Remember that. So, when you go to the country where you are born, write where you are born and the country of the eligibility. If you are Kenyan, it is so easy. Write country Kenya and the eligibility Kenya. So that is what it means. If I come from China, because China is not eligible. If I come from Brazil, Brazil is not eligible. There are so many. I'll come one day with the countries that are not eligible for the DV program. So if I was a Brazilian, because it's not eligible for the DV program, I write the country where, if I was born in Kenya, I have a Kenyan birth certificate. Though I am a national of Brazil because later my parents went to Brazil, and I have a passport of Brazil, so I am a national of Brazil. But my country of birth is Kenya. I write Kenya and Kenya. If, in this case, I'm in Kenya. If it is a Brazilian who is in Burundi, for example, because Burundi is eligible and Brazil is not eligible, and the Brazilian was born in Burundi, they are going to write the country where they were born as Burundi, and the country of their eligibility Burundi, because they are eligible because of Burundi. Otherwise, their country is not eligible. So for the Kenyans, don't worry, just write Kenya, Kenya. That is it. If you are born in Burundi, the country is Burundi and eligibility is Burundi. That is easy. Then that is number 6. So let's read something here. Your country of eligibility will normally be the same as your country of birth. Your country of eligibility is not related to where you live. So it does not matter where you live. As long as where you are born there is eligibility. Now this one is what is written here, but I'm explaining because maybe so that I can make you to understand. So it continues to say, if you are born in a country that is not eligible for the DV lottery program, please go to explanation of country of eligibility. So, and then in red letters into brackets says, this link will open in a new window. If you need to go maybe to see the explanation that was there, the explanation of country of eligibility, you can click that. But if you are not, it is not important for you, do not click. Just go and fill, because if you are born in a country that is eligible, you are good to go. So, to see if there is another option available in your case. So, if in case you need some explanation, we have some red letters here that are into brackets. But as I explained it to you, if you are born in an eligible country, it does not matter where you live. You are going to claim eligibility from your birth country. So, that one we leave it. And then, are you claiming eligibility based on the country where you are born? So, if you are claiming eligibility like this, now I'm a Kenyan or a Burundian, that is yes. It is even ticked yes. So you tick yes. If you are claiming eligibility from the country where you are born. And being eligible is being able to fill because your country is eligible. But because I told you not all countries are eligible. So if not, you must enter the country from which you are claiming eligibility. So if that one is for the ones that now, but if you are in Kenya, we know Kenya is eligible, so you don't need this section. Below there, before you go to number 7, there's another part saying, if you are not claiming eligibility from the country where you are born, if not, select a country. So that one is not for us. For example, in Kenya, we are good. If you are in Burundi, you are born in Burundi, that is not for you. If you're in that country that you are feeling and you are eligible, that you don't have to select the country. So now go to number 7, entrant photograph. So we read what it is written there, because I want you to get it to get it right before you start filling. Photographs must be submitted at the time of a DV of e-DV entry, electronic DV entry. So photographs that do not comply with all specifications, including but not limited to recency of the photos. Recency means it has to be a recent photo. So I told you, like in the other video that I did last time, I told you that if you use the photo that you used in last year to do the DV lottery, it will be rejected. The photo must be 6 months and below. But if you use an old photo, maybe that the one that you used to fill the other green card, remember the system never forgets. So use a recent photo. If possible, be taking the photo during the day of application, or maybe less than 6 months. The photo should be recent. So they are saying not limited to the recency. So it must be of the specifications. If you take a bigger photo or a smaller one, you are going to be disqualified. The photo will not be picked by the system. So let's go to composition of the photo, how it is composed. And unacceptable backgrounds are grounds for disqualification of the entire entry. So any manipulation of photographs that alters the facial characteristics is grounds for disqualification of the entire entry. So there they have told you, see examples of the photo. You can click that blue lettered text and see the specifications. They are the typers that normally know how to do the specifications. And remember, I told you the hairline must be visible. The birthmarks must be visible. When you take the photo have to be crystal clear. The ears must be visible. So you do not have hair falling on your face. Neither should you have wigs. Only your hairline must be visible. If you are Mokolino with a kiremba, remember the hairline must be visible. You have to look the way you are born. You have to appear the way you are born, the way you came out of your mother's stomach, womb. And then you should not have makeup, glasses, or anything or even shaving this. Don't. Be natural the way if you have recently shaved your eyebrows, take time. It's only 5 weeks and then they grow. So take your time. I told you we have up to 7th of November, but please do not wait until 7th or 6th. Apply from 4th coming down, or even that. Let us give ourselves up to 1st of November. Don't go beyond that. Try and do it earlier. So number 7 is the entrant photo. You are going to click there, and when you click the photograph, you are going to get the photo from your, maybe whatever you have, maybe your email, maybe from the WhatsApp or wherever. You just click and then you upload the photo. So that is number 7. We are continuing with the number 7. Photographs must be submitted at the time of EDV entry. Okay, that one I ready for you. So let's go on. Photograph file name. That is where now you are going to browse. You click browse and you are going to upload it from the WhatsApp or the email address. If you are not very conversant with doing these things online, tell someone to help you, or the cyber person, a genuine cyber person. There are those who have the green card application thing, but not all of them. Some do not care. Even if you go with the makeup, they do not care because they are commercial. They want to make money. They do not care about the photograph that they are going to take you. So be very careful on which cyber you use. So let's go down. We have there clicking the blouse. Okay, so that is about the photograph. So number 8. Number 8 is the mailing address. We have number 8A. Number 8A is in care of. For example, you can write your mailing address and then say you care of this and that, maybe the church or something, but that is optional. It's not a must you write care of. And then we have address line 1. Address line 1. So that one you can write the address line 1. If you have an address, write address line 1, and that one is 8B. So 8A is what's in care of. That is optional. 8B is not optional, so you can fill there. And then 8C, address line 2. Address line 2 is also optional. So, and then you go to 8D, D for dog. So 8D for dog is the city or town, right? The city or town where you live. If you live, for example, in Nyeri town, or you live in Nairobi town, right? Either city or town. This one could be Eldoret, for example, in Kenya, could be Mombasa. If you're in Tanzania, you can write Dar es Salaam, Mwanza, all those. So write the city or the town. That is 8 Delta. And then you go to number 8 Echo, 8E. 8E for egg. So district, stroke country, stroke province, stroke state. Let's see whether it is optional. So that is not optional. So if you are in Nyeri County, Nairobi County, Kisumu County, write that. It is either district, stroke, county, stroke, province. So in this case, in Kenya, for example, write county. If you are in Eldoret County, you are in whatever, write the county. Then go to number 8F. F for Fox. So the postal code or the zip code. So this one, if you don't have the zip code, say no zip code. Or no postal or zip code. If you have the postal code, like check. That's why I told you can prepare. Look for those things before you start applying. So for the postal code for Nairobi, know what postal code it is. If you don't have it, just write no postal code. And then we go to number 8G. G for girl. So the country. Select a country. The country. So like for example, in this case, if I'm in Kenya, I write Kenya. So write Kenya and proceed. We go to country where you live today. That one is where you live. Maybe you are Kenyan. You are applying as a Kenyan because you are eligible, but you live in, for example, Dubai or Qatar, because most Kenyans work in the Middle East. Or maybe you live in Saudi Arabia. You can write there. If you live in Saudi Arabia, or you live in the US, or you live in Canada, though, because you could be living in Canada, but you are Kenyan. You are Kenyan going to visit, or no, you are Kenyan working in Canada, or you are Kenyan working in, for example, in the Middle East, maybe Kuwait, maybe Saudi Arabia, right? The country where you live. The phone number, the phone number is also optional, but I think it is not bad to put your phone number. So like, put your phone number, but it is optional. Email address, number 11. So number 9 is the country where you live. Number 10 is the phone number. Number 11 is the email address. The email address is key and very important. If you do not have an email address, make it. Create a good email address, because that one is very key. Most of the time, communications are done via email. So this is very key. Ensure that you get an email before even you start the application. That's why I told you, do not rush to apply before you are sure that you know what you are doing. And you can look for someone who is speedier to do it for you. That is number 11. So number 11A, email address. Email address again. Number 11A. Number 11 was email address. Number 11A, write the email again. Number 11B, confirm email address. You write again the email address to confirm. Simply because this is very important, and I know that is why they are insisting on the email. You see, the number 11 is email address, 11A, the email address again, 11B to confirm the email address. So that is very, very key. Be very careful with the email address. For the mailing address, let me not go there first. Let me continue. Note, there is a note here saying in brackets, note, this email address will be used to provide you with additional information if you are selected. And that is why I told you an email address is key. So do not make a mistake of not having an email address where you can be reached. And before you start application, ensure that that email address is usable. You can even tell someone to send you something via that email to confirm that it is usable. So let's be very careful on that. Number 12, what is the highest level of education you have achieved as of today? What is your highest level of education? So number 12, we have the first one is primary school only. High school, no degree. High school degree. Let me clarify on the primary school only. Those are the people who went to primary school. For example, in Kenya, because I always give an example because that is where I've lived. So primary school only is whereby you went from standard 1 or from baby class to standard 8. So you have been in for 8 years, because now they start counting from standard 1. So for the baby and the whatever, they don't count. So it is from class 1 to 8. So you went to primary school only, you tick that. Because I told you in Kenya, the qualification is a Form 4 certificate. But because you could be having a work experience or a work qualification, you can take primary education because you have your work. So let's not dwell on that. We go to high school, no degree. This one means you went to high school, but you did not do the exam. That is what the US normally means. Then they believe that that is a degree. So if you went from Form 1 to Form 2 to Form 3 to Form 4, but you did not do an exam, you do not have your O-level certificate, that is high school with no degree. That is why I told you, if you have all those, no degree or primary school only, you have to have a work experience or a work qualification. But remember, they are the ones who are going to decide whether the work that you are giving, you are showing them, they are going to give you the visa. They are going to qualify you because you can win and fail the interview. They can look at your work experience that you are claiming to have, because I told you it has to be a job group 4, job zone 4 or 5. Zone 5 is very high. I even wonder how you can be up to primary school and have the job zone 5, because those are university degrees. For the job zone 5s, those who do those jobs are people with bachelors or in whatever, and masters and whatever. So I don't know how it works. For in Kenya, I don't know whether it is possible, but everything is possible anyway. So with the high school degree, you understand. High school degree, that is where you have gone to Form 4 and you have this Form 4 certificate. That one is what it means. So we have the vocational school. If you have done a vocational school, you can tick that. Some university courses, you can tick that. University degree. You know the good thing, as long as you have gone up to high school with a degree is whereby you have your O-level certificate, you are good to go. You can say the minimum, as long as you have a minimum of high school degree, that is good. But if you do not have the high school degree, you are lower than that. Because you can see we go to primary, high school, vocational, some university, going up. And then university degree, some graduate level courses, master's degrees, some doctorate level courses, doctorate degree. So they go up. So vocational school, maybe you went and did something in college or what, some like that, university courses. You went to a university to do a course, you can tick that. But as long as you have the high school degree, Form 4 in Kenya, good to go. So tick appropriately. For I told you the work experience, it has to be job zone 4, having attending for 2 years and working in that organization for 5 years, and it has to be proven. And after that, after everything, the visa officer or the consulate officer is the one who is going to decide whether that job group that you have given, the zone 4, is going to make you pass or be disqualified. So it is not a must that because you have the work experience, you are going to be qualified to get the visa. They are going to decide. So when you go to the embassy and you are denied, go back home and wait for another time. So we have all that. That is the highest level of education, number 12. Let's go. And then there is a writing here. There's some. So you must have a minimum of a high school diploma. So it could be high school diploma or degree, whichever. As long as you have your Form 4 certificate, some countries call it diploma or degree, high school degree. That is Form 4 certificate. So reflecting the completion of a full course of study into brackets for vocational schools, all equivalency degree are not acceptable. Vocational schools or equivalency degrees are not acceptable. So, or be a skilled worker in an occupation that requires at least 2 years of training or experience to qualify for. And when they reach there, they have given you a site in blue lettered that you can click and check the jobs that are qualified. If you do not have the minimum qualification of the Form 4 or the whatever degree, the high school degree or diploma. So you go there, you see you can click on the blue lettered whatever text, and then we have a red lettered text. So to see if your occupation qualifies. The red lettered one also will show you whether your occupation is the occupation that you have, the work qualification qualifies you. Instead of going to the embassy for the interview, you pay for the visa. And the visa, by the way, is $330 US. And remember, when you go to the visa interview and fail, that money is gone. And you know it depends with the rate. It could be 37,000, 42. Like now I checked, 330 is around 42K. Because remember, rates of the rates of the dollar rates, the dollar of the currency, the rates of the currencies keep fluctuating. And when the dollar is too high, it's appreciating too much. You remember when the exchange rate will be high. So, for example, right now, 330 is 42,000. It can keep changing, fluctuating. It can be 42. Maybe next year it will be 40. You never know. So be prepared. Because now I saw it is 42, 330 USD, 42. If there is anything, we shall check and see. But prepare some money there for the visa. So do not go to the interview with the doubt. If you do not have the educational qualification, be very careful. Ensure that the work qualification is qualified for it. It will qualify you to pass the interview. Otherwise, you lose your visa money that you are going to pay because when you go for the interview, you pay for the visa with all your dependents. So let's continue. Number 13. What is your current marital status? Marital status is another thing that people normally ask many questions. Unmarried. So if you're unmarried, tick unmarried, meaning that you are single. If you are, for example, you could be having children with somebody, but you are not even married legally. Because married, according to the US government, is whereby you have a marriage certificate. If you do not want to legalize your marriage by doing a wedding or by doing a wedding, getting a marriage certificate, not necessarily doing a wedding, getting a marriage certificate. And I told you can get the certificate from the Attorney General. You can write unmarried. So you and your children, if for example I'm a lady, I have children, I can write myself and all the children. And then my partner, because we are not married, he can take also as unmarried and fill on his own. But in this point, he's not going to fill my name. Because here we are unmarried. Maybe we live separately, but we have children. And there are no wrangles between us. So he is able to give me the consent when I apply as unmarried. So I'll apply as unmarried with all my children, and he will apply as unmarried with all the children. But I'm not going to put him in my application. Neither is he going to put me in his application. So he will put himself and the children. So the children will have 2 slots. And remember, if I win, because I have seen it in the airport, someone coming with a child, because they have a child with that lady, but he did not apply with the lady because they are not legally married. So he applies with the child, and it is possible because I don't think, because in this at this point they are not having wrangles. So the spouse, the partner will accept. He write for you a consent letter that I'm okay for you to go with the children. Because remember, the birth certificates read the name of the mother. So the mother have maternal rights. But if she is okay with the husband going with the children, it's okay. Because if either of them win, they can never go with the partner. If I win and I never put my partner, I can only go alone with the children. If he wins, he cannot go with me because he did not put me in the DV lottery. Because if you put your spouse in the DV lottery, you have to have ticked married and have the marriage certificate. So that is the difference. The unmarried Either you are totally unmarried, you do not even have children, or you have a partner but you live separately but you have children, or you have the partner and you don't live together. Maybe even you don't have children. So for the unmarried, you can apply that way. You apply with the children, she applies with the children. But after one of you wins, you cannot go with your partner. So because that is not a spouse, that is a partner. So let's go to married and my spouse is not a US citizen or lawful permanent resident. So if you are married and your spouse, like for example, I am married, but my spouse, I'm going to tick here. Married and for example, for my case, for example, I'm married, but my spouse is not a US citizen or US lawful permanent resident. A US lawful permanent resident or legal permanent resident is the one that has a green card in the US. Those who are living with a green card, because if you remember, when you go with a green card visa, the visa is normally mostly valid for 6 months since the date of issue. And that's why I told you, after getting the visa, ensure that you go before the visa expires. It's normally 6 months. But anyway, after the lottery, whatever selection, you can even have 14 months to prepare. But after the visas are issued, they are normally valid for 6 months. So when they go to the US with the visa, they become lawful permanent residents. So I'll be having my Kenyan passport with a US green card. But now I have all the rights of the government. I can study in the US freely. My children can study. You have the government services. So that is what we call the lawful permanent resident or legal permanent resident, LPR. So, and then you go to married and my spouse is a US citizen or a US of permanent. If you are married by a US citizen or a US LPR, you tick there. Then you are going to have the divorced. If you tick divorced, you have to have your divorce certificate. That is so easy. I have done other things regarding that. You can go and watch the other videos. They are very helpful. And then widowed. If you are widowed, show the certificate. And then the other one is legally separated. Remember, to be legally separated means that you are married officially. You have a marriage certificate issued by the Kenyan government, but you separated. Because of what? Maybe you had differences and you decided to separate for some time, but you are not yet divorced. So if you are legally separated, tick here. This one is for them. This is not for them that have not married officially. This is not for those that do not have the marriage certificate. It is for those who have got marriage certificates, but they separated under a court order because of their differences for some time. That one can later lead to divorce or anything depending on them. And so if you are legally separated because you married officially, you have your marriage certificate issued by the Kenyan government or by whichever government, the Tanzanian government, Ugandan, Rwandese, you can legally separate, maybe because of the differences and because you have a court order. So in this case, because you are not divorced, you are going to fill the application with your spouse because you are still married. Only that you are separated. No, you are not still married. Yes, you are still in marriage, but you have separated for some time. So in this issue, if you are legally separated, fill together with your spouse. So if it is Wairimu here and she is separated, I am going to fill my name and the names of my husband and my children because we have not divorced. And my spouse is also rightful to apply as a principal applicant with all his family. So me and my children. So you understand that. So it's not the way you just you did come stay and then you parted ways. That one is not legal separation because you do not have a marriage certificate. So I can even read here because I did not. Okay, let me read here. Sorry, there are some notes. Legal separation is an agreement. It's an arrangement when a couple remain married but live apart, following a court order. Oh, thank you. If you and your spouse are legally separated, your spouse will not be able to immigrate with you through the diversity visa program. However, you must include your spouse even if you plan to be divorced before you apply for the diversity visa. So you hear what they are saying here. You have to put them in the diversity visa, though you do not have to migrate with them. Put them in the diversity visa. Ensure you put your spouse because you are still married but legally separated by a court order. Let's continue. Let me repeat. Legal separation is an arrangement when a couple remain married but live apart, following a court order. If you and your spouse are legally separated, your spouse will not be able to immigrate with you through the diversity visa program. We have understood. If you are legally separated, they cannot go with you to the US because already you are separated. However, you must include your spouse even if you plan to be divorced before you apply for the diversity visa. So, you must apply for him. Put him in the application, even though you are not going to fly with him. So during the application, put him in the diversity whatever. But so let's continue. Failure to list your eligible spouse as grounds for disqualification. If your spouse is a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, do not list him or her in your entry. So, if your spouse, maybe you are legally separated with that spouse, but he is an LPR, lawful permanent resident, or a U.S. citizen. Citizens are those that are, like for example, if I have a U.S. passport, I'm a citizen. But if I have a Kenyan passport with a green card of the U.S., I am a lawful permanent resident. So put your spouse, even if you are separated, but you will not travel with them to the US. That is what it says. So you can go alone, though he is in the picture. He is in the DV Rotary program. Number 14, number of children. Children include all biological children. Listen to this. All your biological children, legally adopted children. So the legally adopted ones, because you have the adoption rights, stepchildren who are unmarried and under the age of 21 on the date you submit the entry. Because people normally lie to others just to make them feel that if your child is almost 21, they can apply for themselves. I told you if your child is 20 years plus 11 months and a half, they are minors according to the government of the US. Like our case in Kenya, before you are 18, you are still a minor. But when you attain the age of 18, now you can even apply for a Kenyan ID. So the same case with the US. Minors are the children above 21 years. No, below 21 years. Minors are the children that are below 21 years. But after you attain the age of 21, from that age to any other age, you are an adult. So I told you before you reach 21 years, you cannot apply alone as a principal applicant until you attain the age of 21. Even if you are almost 21 in the month of October, and by the time the results will be out in May, you are going to be 21. Remember, you are still a minor when you are applying. So what matters is the date of application, not the date of the results. If you are not 21 years old, you are still a minor. So let's continue with the children under the age of 21. By the way, if your children are at the age of 21 and they are married, you cannot apply for them too. If you have children who are below the age of 21, maybe they are 18, maybe they are 15, but they are married, you cannot put them in the diversity visa program. So remember that. So let's continue with the notes here. They are nice. On the day of application or the day you submit your entry, we continue. So you must include all eligible children, even if they do not live with you or if they do not intend to apply for a diversity visa. As your derivate are the dependents. So failure to list all the eligible children is grounds for disqualification. If your child is a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, do not list him or her in the entry. Because people normally ask, if I am applying, do I list my children who are above 21 or 21 and above? Do not enter them. Just leave it like that. Those are not children. Those are counted as adults. So do not. So, if your children are below 21, but they are married, you cannot also apply for them. They have to wait until 21, they apply as principal. That one is just additional information. So, and then you continue. If you don't want to continue because maybe you thought you made a mistake, you can cancel the entry. But if you want to continue from number 14, continue. So, the part 2. The part 2 now is for the derivatives. Derivatives are the dependents, your children, your spouse, those are the derivatives. So if you don't have the derivatives, it will be simple for you. You are done now, you can submit. But if you have derivatives, go to part 2. And now there's some writings here saying, before we start number 13, after 14, we go to 13. Instead of going to 15, it's now we go to 13 for the derivatives, for the part 2. There's some writings, there's a note here saying, if you need to go back and make a correction, do not use the back button on your browser. Don't use the back button on your browser. Instead, use the appropriate button here or below. So that is a note for you. So part 2, derivatives or the dependents. So number 13, you start with the spouse. It is the same thing. 13A, we have the last or the family name, your spouse last or the family name, then the first name of the spouse, that is part B. C, middle name, just like the whatever, the principal applicant. So number 13B, number 13D, D for dog, birthday for the spouse. Select the day you are going to click, the day there, click the month, number B, and then the year. Then we have the gender, number 13, echo, 13A, 13A for egg. We have the male or the female, click appropriately. Then the city where you are born, that is number 13F. F for, what is F? For father. So you enter the birth city, do not enter district, the same like the other one, district, county, or province, the city. So here, in case you live in Kisumu, you live in Mwanza, you live in wherever, Bujumbura, write the city where you are born. And number 13G, G for girl, country where your spouse was born. Was she born in Kenya or wherever she was born? If it's not a must she be born in your country. She could have been born in another different country. Maybe she was born in Nigeria. Maybe she was born in Cotonou or Gadugu, whatever the country, right there. So 13H. H for hotel, spouse photograph, the same specifications. Remember I told you no makeup, no covering your head. You have to be seen the way you are born. Even the body marks, like this, I have a body mark. It has to be visible. If you have most anything, it has to be visible. And it's good to always have loud neck. Don't put suit and tie like. Just have very loud neck like this. The inside top, the dress inside here, loud neck, not it's good to have the loud neck. So continue. Number 14, after all that I have done for the spouse, there are the specifications for the photo. They have written for you some notes. Let's go to number 14, child, #1 name, the first child's name. The child, I told you the child below 21 and unmarried. Because if they are below 21 and they are married, no. So number 1, the same name, family name, last name, that one I think you have gotten the nini. So you have gotten the formula. Number is last name, stroke family name, first name, and then the middle name. So birthday, like the same that you did for yourself, the gender, the country where the child was born. So number 14 is the child name. Birth date is 14D, D for dog, and then A, day, B, month, C. That is number 14, kadhalika. And then we go for 14 echo, 14A, A for egg, the gender for the child, city where child was born. Number 14F for father. I wrap my father so much so that I'm saying father. So Adamagao child, anyway, 14G for girl, country where child was born, select. 14H, hotel, child photograph, the same specifications. So now after that, go back to part 1. So you go back to part 1. So but the photograph you submit. So now you go back to part 1. So that is how you are going to fill your diversity visa program, and then you submit. Do not make a mistake. If you think that you cannot be speedy enough, speedy and efficient, please go to a cyber person who is genuine when there is no traffic jam of people. You know, sometimes people are too many during the last days. For example, from 1st of November, there will be too much traffic of people, not of cars. There will be traffic, human beings traffic in the cyber. So you can go to the cyber early in the morning, the cyber that are applying for the green card, choose a good cyber. You can consult in the good cybers and do your application slowly by slowly, because it is only 30 minutes. Whatever I've ready for you is 30 minutes. If you are applying alone, it's not that long. It's 14 parts. But if you are applying with the spouse and the children, it's like that. So that is it. Let us get prepared. Do not hurry. Do not panic. If you do not get the chance this time, there is another time. And put God first and let the will of God be done. I wish all good luck. Let the favor of the Lord be upon you when you go to apply and when you go for the visa interview. Remember, after the selection, you have a long time, because you can check the results even at September. The results come out by, like last time it was, I think, 6th of May. And you can check from 6th of May 2025 to September. And then after September, you still have time. You go and book for the interview. After you book for the interview, you can even do your interview in March next year, 2026. But after you go to the embassy, remember, you must fly before the visa expires. So they do not care before the visa expires. And remember, the principal applicant must go either before or together with the family. So there is no way I can be the principal applicant and I'm still alive and I be left behind. My family goes beyond me, ahead of me, sorry. So the principal applicant must either go ahead or together with the family, because it is possible for the principal applicant to go ahead and maybe get maybe make a way for the rest. Some of them go together, but some prefer going ahead of the family so that they can go and prepare and then the family can follow. So have a nice time. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I hope it is crystal clear to you. Do the form very carefully and accurately, and it will be well. Put all the certificates together, your educational testimonials. Because after winning, you are going to be needed to produce those certificates. Thank you.